So this is Rosemary and I'm from The Busy Budgeter. And what we're going to do today is a full-on review of Elite Blog Academy. So what I mean by full-on review is that we're going to talk about the good, bad, and the ugly. And the purpose of this is so that if somebody's coming in here, it's a lot of money to get into Elite Blog Academy. And it's kind of it's a big time and financial commitment. And it's a really stressful, I would say, kind of decision to make, because you really want to know, like, is this going to work for me? Is this just working for other people? Like, do I have what it takes to complete this successfully? And what we wanted to do is kind of put all of our best resources into this and try to help you almost have like a buyer's guide, like try to give you either the confidence or at least the realistic, feedback of whether or not this is the right purchase for you. So we've got some information and we're going to talk about statistics, people that have had wild success in it, people that have not had good success in it, and how to tell which camp you fall into. So we're going to talk about, first of all, Elite Blog Academy. Obviously, it's foundational blog training. It's an online course that's completed. In theory, it's meant to be completed in 12 weeks. You should not be completing it in 12 weeks. You're nuts. It took me 9 months to complete. And all of the success stories that I've seen from it completed this in much, much more than 12 weeks. It was typically almost always more than 6 months were the major success stories. And the best ones were 9 months, a year. There was even a couple that were 18 months. So the right answer of how quick to complete it is how long you can complete every single action step. So if you can do that in 6 months, awesome. If it takes you 18 months, awesome. Your income is going to increase anyway, but the important part is that you actually implement everything that you're learning. You do the work and you don't just take the overview of the class. Sorry, that was kind of a side note. I get really passionate about this. Okay. So what I mean by foundational class is that Elite Blog Academy teaches you everything you need to know to create a profitable blog from the beginning and then all the way to the end business strategy. We're talking so they take you from here's how to structure and organize your blog all the way to here's how to hire people for your blog. In every single step of that. The thing about foundation is that, put it like this, how you go have blogging classes where it's oh, we teach affiliate marketing, or we teach list building, or we teach how to increase your page views. So all of those are important, but not if you don't understand the context of how they should be used, right? You have to know when it's important to focus on page views, when it's important to focus on list building, and when it's important to focus on affiliate income. So if you don't have an email list or high page views and you're trying to focus on affiliate income, you can never have success. You have to do things in the right order, and you have to have a basic level of comprehension and success in those areas that you can build upon. It's like skill building. So Elite Blog Academy, rather than hyper-focusing in on one topic, teaches you all of the topics in a step-by-step way, and they take pretty deep dives into each topic. So when I took the class, I was a member of their class. I was in class number 1, which was September of 2014. That was the class that I was in. And when I took it, I had been a state trooper for almost 10 years. It was 9.5 years. And I had quit my job to come home, and I was now running a stay-at-home daycare for 4 kids. And I loved it. It was super fun. It was super exhausting. I worked 50 hours a week. I was so tired. And I got this random sales email. I must have signed up for something on our blog at some point, never read it. Sorry. But I got this random email about how she makes a full-time income from her blog and she gets to write and help people. And I remember at the time, I had no idea what full-time income meant. I was praying that she meant $2,000 a month, because I was if I could make $2,000 a month from this, this would be amazing. This would change our lives. Did I mention the home daycare made me really tired? But it was awesome. So I wanted to do it so bad, right? I want to take this class. I really want to do it. And at the time, we were just finishing off paying over $30,000 of debt. We were technically living paycheck to paycheck, but not because we had to be, because we were using all that extra money and paying off the rest of our debt. And I remember calling my husband downstairs and being so I need to take, a couple $100 to take this blogging class. And he was like, what is blogging? What are you talking about? And I think he thought it was essentially just a whim, which it kind of was. But it worked out fantastic. He told me I had done a ton of research and I took it really serious. And I was like, listen, this is why this is going to be the best thing ever. And I kind of pretended I'd been thinking about it for a long time, which was not true. And he looked at me and he said, you have to take this. If you don't take this class, you're always going to wonder what if, and you're always going to regret it. And I was like, I remember like I had it bought before I finished talking. I was like, really? Okay, click buy. Okay, it's done now. And so when I took the class, it took me 9 months to complete it. I did every single step. I implemented every step. I did every action step. And within 10 months, I was making a full-time income from my blog. Then I had to phase out the daycare. We shifted over to complete blogging. Within 18 months, I was making over $20,000 a month from my blog. And it just kept going up, like up. It's been an amazing journey. The blog now supports my entire family. It bought us a new house. It bought us a lot of stuff. The blog has been amazing. I work 20 hours a week. I get to be like the stay-at-home mom that I always wanted to be, but I also have this like really cool business that I get to run on the side of that. It's almost like the best of both worlds, and I get all, I don't know, I just get freaked out when I think about it. Like I don't know how, it's just crazy that this is like an option. I wish that I'd known that blogging was a thing a long time ago, because I feel like if I had known that, no offense to the state police, but I probably never would have gone there. I probably would have started with this one. Anyway, that was like a sappy side note. Back to Elite Blog Academy. Let's see. So my results, you can tell I don't do a lot of video. So the most important thing about Elite Blog Academy, and it's a pretty big drawback, is that they are only open for 5 days a year, which I totally understand why she does that. She does it because she wants there to be like a community aspect, meaning that people are coming in together. Like I just said, like, oh, I'm from the first class for September 2014. There's like that group aspect that you're all doing it together. We're kind of starting in the same units. We're all talking about it. So that's why she does that. The downside of that is that it's almost impossible to get into the class unless you're on the waiting list, right? You need to have almost perfect timing, like I did, sitting in my living room and got that email. So that's a pretty big downside, because this class can change your entire life, but if you don't know that it opens, then you can't really do that. And we get so many emails. I talk about my story a lot, so we get a lot of emails going like, when is Elite Blog Academy opening? And I'm like, I got no idea. I have no idea. You have to be on the waiting list. They'll let you know. So if this is like, just take a pause for a second, because if you're like, oh, this sounds interesting, I would like to do this, and you want to do it, the only way that you even have a shot at doing it is to, I'll leave a link below the video, but click the link to join the waiting list, because without that, this isn't even a thing that you could do. Okay, so let's see. What the reason why we're here, okay, yeah, so that was all the gooey, like, EBA is amazing, like, it's gonna change your life. Okay, so that is true, it's amazing, but I also want you to realize that just because it's amazing, that doesn't mean that it's right for you, right? This is a lot of money, and what I want you to take away from this is whether or not these results are gonna be realistic for you, what you can kind of expect out of it, so that you don't go into this with like rose-colored glasses and like, you know, you're betting your last, you know, your last paycheck on this. Like, we need to know, like, realistically speaking, what we're gonna get out of this. So there's a couple of people that EBA is perfect for. We're gonna run through those real quick, and then we're gonna run through the people that should not be taking Elite Blog Academy. And I want you to understand that if I tell you that you shouldn't take Elite Blog Academy, you have the money set aside, you wanna do it anyway, I mean, you can do it, you know? But at the end of the day, I want you to understand, like, this would be my recommendation. Like, if you were my sister or my best friend, this is what I would be telling you. So, EBA is totally right for new bloggers who are serious about it. Like, you have to understand that going into this, half of your class is going to be new, and then the other half are going to be making money blogging. Like, either close to a full-time income, and there's going to be a couple of people that are making much more than full-time income coming into your same class. So that's not to say that that's a bad thing at all, but I want you to understand that you can't be the type of person that looks around and says, oh, well, I'm just new, I haven't started. Like, you need to be like, okay, I'm new, but I'm doing this seriously. Like, I'm dedicated to this. Like, don't use your newness as an excuse. That sounds really hard. I promise I wouldn't yell. Okay. So what I mean by that is, like, don't use the fact that you're new as an excuse. If you're going to say like, oh, I just want to dabble and yada, 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 that's totally fine, but don't get Elite Blog Academy. Get Elite Blog Academy if you're new, but like, this is happening. Like, you're doing this thing. Like, you're going to do all the work. You're going to start the website. Like, this is happening. And you're not going to use the fact that you're new as an excuse the whole class. And that's not to say you still shouldn't get it, but I just mean you're not going to get out of it what you want to get out of it if you do that. But if you're new, do the class, you implement every single step, and you take it super, super seriously, then EBA is perfect for you. If you're an established blogger already, you're already making income, probably not full-time, and you're trying to figure out how to increase your income, EBA is absolutely perfect for you. You are the people that it's like a no-brainer. As long as you don't fit any of our criteria for who EBA is not for, you should be in it. You should be clicking waitlist and like, just tell me when it's done and like, I'm in. Because first of all, if you've ever made income from blogging, then all you would be doing is reinvesting what you've made from blogging and putting it into your blogging career. So one, that's a no-brainer. Two is that, again, so that foundation, I've met people who make $10,000 or $15,000 a month from blogging who are missing essential elements of foundation. And then they've taken EBA and they're like, oh, and their income like jumps up. And it's not that they're not figuring stuff out. They figured out a ton of stuff, but it's like, if you miss any piece of foundation, like avatar, traffic, content strategy, list building, I call it dating your list, basically like how you talk to your list, affiliates, product creation. If you're missing any of the essential elements of that stuff, you can still have success in blogging, but your success gets exponentially better when you have a strong foundation. And a lot of people just, they get that sounds bad. They get super lucky in the fact that like, they got really high traffic, you know, they had a couple of viral posts and it went nuts. So they're making a lot of money from blogging, but they don't necessarily understand avatar. They didn't necessarily understand how to do affiliate strategy. They didn't necessarily understand how to create products or why they should. So when you get that rock solid foundation, it's like the sky is the limit. It just opens up. So if you're established, you're already making money. So the other thing about if you're already making money, that means we don't have to wonder if you have the skills or the capacity to learn the skills to be a blogger. If you're already making money from blogging, we already know that you have that, right? So all we have to do is like fix your foundation a little bit and then boom. If we're talking with a brand new blogger, there's a little bit more of a risk involved because we don't know if that person has the capacity to write, right? Blogging is essentially, there's a lot of writing there. So we don't know if they have those possibilities. We don't know if they have the skills that they can make this into a full-time thing. All right, so established bloggers making money. Yes for you. Full-time bloggers who are already making a full-time income. So I would say it's 50-50. 50% of the people that I meet in this situation, I end up recommending EBA, and 50% of the people I say, no, you're good. It really just depends on what kind of foundation you have. The biggest question I can ask you to tell you if this is for you is, do you control your largest source of income? Meaning if your largest source of income is not controlled by you and it went away, what would happen to your business? So if you were controlling your largest source of income and if your largest source of income that is not controlled by you went away, it wouldn't affect your business at all, and you don't really have the time commitment to work on this and you want to do it on your own, you're fine. If your largest source of income is controlled by someone other than you, then you definitely need Elite Blog Academy, because we know that you have the skills to make this happen. Like, we know. And there's very likely it's just one or two tiny foundation pieces we need to solidify, and then like the sky is the limit. And the nice part about this is that EBA doesn't teach how to make a quick buck at all. They teach how to create a long-term sustainable blogging business that will be here for the rest of your life. Like I said, I mean, I now support my entire family, which is a little scary when you think about the fact that I support like my entire family like with a mommy blog, but it's kind of awesome. And it doesn't worry me at all, because I know where my income comes from, and I know that I control that, if that makes sense. Okay, let's see. If you are out of touch with the blogging world and you've been blogging for more than 5 years. So the cool thing about, cool and bad, I guess it depends on how you look at it, is that the online world changes really quickly. Like, things come and go, and there's likely much faster, better ways to run your blog if you've been doing this in a while and you haven't really like kept up on industry standards. So I haven't actually run into very many people like this, but a couple of people I've met in EBA that took it because they were making a full-time income from blogging, but they had grown their blog about over 5 years ago, where things were just a lot different. And once they had implemented some newer strategies, we're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure this is going to be me in 2 years, where I'm going to be like, whoa, what is this? I didn't know about this. But So the idea is that, like, if you feel like you're kind of out of touch and you're not really sure what the new hip bloggers are doing right now, there's probably a much easier way to do things than you've been doing it. So I would recommend it for that. And again, that's another no-brainer. The biggest thing, because obviously you have plenty of money to afford the course, it's going to be more about taking the time commitment for it. I think it's well worth it. I think you're going to solidify your foundation. I think you're going to learn a lot of new stuff. And the cool thing about EBA is that they don't rewrite it, but they update it so frequently with just completely new things. And my favorite thing about it is that Ruth Sukup, which is the woman that teaches it, is a open book. Like, whenever you think, I bet she wouldn't answer that question, she does. So she just, whatever goes through her mind, like, she teaches. Like, it's kind of amazing. It's really, really beneficial as a student. So let's see, what else are we doing here? So the other two, I doubt that you're going to find your way to this review if this is you, but just in case, we'll cover it. There are other two people that should really be in Elite Blog Academy are people that want to create a business but have no capital, right? They want to work for themselves. They want to escape the 9-to-5 and all that fun stuff, but they have no money to start a business. So blogging is pretty much like a backdoor way to create a business. So I have a really, really large business right now, like pretty massive. And the only thing that I purchased was hosting, which was $3.95 a month, and Elite Blog Academy, and that's how I created that. So in comparison, my husband had a brewery, which was a massive, I don't even like to think about it. It was a lot of money. And it was just an enormous amount of risk. And blogging, like, I spent that little tiny amount of money, and if it hadn't worked out at the end of my 9 months, I spent 10 hours a week doing it, I would have just walked away, and I don't think I would have had any, like, heartbreak over it. It would have been like a hobby that I did for 9 months and it didn't work out. That's not the way my story went. That's not the way most stories go in Elite Blog Academy. In fact, it turns into something that you really love, and that becomes part of your life, and, you know, all the other fun stuff. But so I would say that risk versus reward here is pretty obvious that Elite Blog Academy is not a big risk, and it comes with a pretty huge reward. Gosh, that was off topic. I'm so sorry. Anyway, if you want to create a business and you don't have any capital, blogs are the way to do that. You can flip that into a traditional business where now you've got this platform of people that are listening to you, and you're kind of like a thought leader. I hate that term. Anyway, you can actually create them products, you can run Facebook ads, and you can work like a traditional business. You can even start writing on your blog one day, and you can just feed people into products and kind of go like that. Totally nothing wrong with that. But you could also continue doing the blog and keep the blog and the products, and there's all sorts of options. But if you want to create a business with no capital, this is the way to do it. So the other thing is that if you want to be a speaker or an author, but you have no platform. So in order to be a speaker or an author, you already need to have a platform, right? It's very, very rare nowadays for you to talk to a publishing house and they be willing to publish your book without you having a platform of people that are waiting for it to come out. So if you want to do one of those, the best way to do it is to create a platform. The best way to create a platform is with a blog. So if that's you, then this is a great purchase for you too. This should be a no-brainer, and it should be an investment as a long-term strategy. So who Elite Blog Academy is not for, absolutely not for, not recommending this to you at all if you fall into one of these. One is if you cannot learn from others, and no judging, but you probably know who you are. If you're the type of person that's like, you don't ask for directions, you don't read instructions, you do not want anyone to tell you what you're going to do, you like to do things all by yourself, and if I tell you to do something, you're not going to do it, then it's not like, just don't buy it, because you know you're not going to implement it, you know it. So if that's you, save your money, spend a weekend at a spa, and just say no to that, okay? That's not for you. At the end of the day, like, this training is amazing, but if you don't implement what you're learning, it's literally like you're just burning money. So I don't want you to be in that situation, and it's not an issue at all, but if you're the type of person that's not going to learn, like, let's just skip it. All right, so if you cannot find 10 hours a week right now to blog, then I would say that you should skip it. There's a couple of situations where I would be like, maybe I would recommend it to you, like if you get really, really busy during the school year, but you have the summers free. I would maybe recommend it to you, but here's the thing that I want you to think about. If you cannot find 10 hours a week now, what is the likelihood of you being able to find 10 hours a week in the future? Because life kind of just happens. And I think if this isn't something that you're really dedicated enough to making it a priority right now, I feel like you're not going to make it a priority in the summer. And so I would say typically if you cannot find 10 hours a week, I would not recommend it. And here's the other thing is that, like, this is not manual labor. Like, it's not like I'm asking you to do laundry for 10 hours a week. Like, you can sit on your couch with bachelor pad, you know, which is amazing, by the way, up on your TV while you blog at night. I just need you to have 10 hours a week that you're doing this. Do you know what I mean? So I did it 2 hours a night, Monday through Friday, and any time that I missed, then I made up on the weekends. You could do it after your kids are in bed. If you've got kids home with you, you could do it during nap times. If you work outside of the house, like at a job, and you have an hour at lunch every day, you could do it an hour at lunch every day. That's 5 hours, and then do an hour in the evening. There's a lot of ways that you can work it. 10 hours is actually not a ton. The other nice thing is that it's actually fun. Like, again, it's not manual labor. So when I say that blogging is easy, it's easy in the sense that it's fun. Like, people do this legitimately as a hobby. They don't even know that you can make money from it. So it's not like it's something that's difficult. It really is kind of awesome and fun. But at the same time, you have to do it like consistently. So if you don't do it consistently, you're never gonna kind of get anywhere. So you need 10 hours a week. And the third person is if you have no plans to monetize, like if you feel icky about making money from this, just never gonna monetize, then I mean, it would still help you grow your platform and stuff, but if you're not planning to make money from it, I don't think it's a great investment because you're not gonna make your money back unless you plan to monetize. So I would just skip it in that case, and I would just kind of play around with blogging and then see where it takes you. But keep in mind that monetizing and not monetizing looks exactly the same way. So blogging when you monetize and blogging just as a hobby, or you're doing the exact same thing. So in my mind, it's crazy not to monetize because, again, it supports your family. It supports the time that you spend away from your family doing this. So unless there's you kind of figure out where that feeling comes from, why you don't want to monetize. That's what I would ask. No skills or capacity to learn the blogging skills. All right, so I always have a hard time saying this one, and I'm going to try to think of a way, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I don't want to tell someone not to take it if they really want to. So what I'm talking about is sometimes you meet people that just, this is not in your skill set. And we see it a lot where, like, if they send us an email and the email has got like it's a hot mess, like you can't even understand what they're asking, and it's just like there's some people that this is just, you have to have some capacity to write, right? Blogging is a lot of writing. It's marketing skills, it's business skills, technically it's graphic design skills and tech skills, but I don't have either of those, and I seem to do okay. So I think you need to have some of them, but not necessarily all of them, and you can kind of like make do with what you've got. But every once in a while you meet someone that's just, it doesn't matter what they do, like this is not what they're kind of meant to do. So if you think that's you, or if you're worried that that's you, why don't you email me at busybudgeter@gmail.com, and we can talk about it, and I can kind of like get a sense of your personality or where you're coming from, and maybe I can give you a better recommendation. But again, if you do that, click the waiting list now to get on the waiting list, because once I talk to you, you're not going to remember to do that. And if you do end up deciding that you want it and you're not on the waiting list, like you can't even possibly get into the class. It's not even an option. So waiting list, and then email me at busybudgeter@gmail.com, and I'll leave it below the video. But typically speaking, one thing I do want to say about the skills and the capacity to learn those skills is that, again, I was a state trooper for 9 years. No one ever looked at me and thought, you have exceptional marketing skills and great business sense. You should be a blogger. Like, not to knock my own intelligence, but I was a C student. And at no point did I ever think that this would be something that I was good at. I have zero tech skills. Like, your grandmother is probably better on a computer than I am, although I have learned a little bit since I started. But for the most part, like it hasn't really held me back that much. There's YouTube tutorials on pretty much everything, and thank goodness there's super, super cheap tech guys. Like, if you do have a problem, we're talking like $10 can fix something that I spent 3 to 4 hours on. So there are options, there are skills that are kind of like negotiable, but for the most part, like there's a lot of writing involved. So if you can't write a clear paragraph, then this is probably not going to be the career for you. That being said, a lot of these skills you can learn, and it doesn't necessarily mean that if this is your dream, I don't want to talk you out of it. Does that make sense? But at the same time, I want you to have realistic expectations. Like, just email me if you think that's you, okay? I don't know how to say that. But again, keep in mind too, when you write, you're writing like you speak. So I don't know anybody that was getting like A's in English, and like you don't write like it's not like an essay or a composition paper or anything like that. You typically write in blogging like you speak. Okay, so let's talk about results. So I'm in kind of a cool position to be able to tell you about this, because so my blog is actually nothing to do with blogging. My blog is talking about budgeting, and we teach women how to go from paycheck to paycheck, kind of escape the paycheck to paycheck cycle and get their whole life in order. So even though I'm a budgeting blog, I actually teach life skills. So all of those things work together. Your laundry, your dishes, your budgeting, all of those things, if one of those are out of line, then they're all kind of out of line. So we teach them all. But I have this tiny little subsection of my business that is bloggers. And those are people that have, you know, basically heard me talk about EBA or my story or something like that. And we're like, oh, I want to hear more. So I send them like a weekly newsletter and we talk about some stuff. And because of that, I did a survey 2 years ago where I was trying to prove that the most success stories came from EBA, or the people that took a long time to take the class, right? And in that survey, I asked like how much your income increased, how long did it take you to complete the class, all that good stuff. Well, it turns out I got really good information from these surveys. We've done it 2 years in a row now, so let me talk to you about some of the survey results. And the cool thing about this is that this is just random readers. Like these are just people that listen to me and were like, oh yeah, I want to do EBA too, and they took Elite Blog Academy and this is their results. So this can give you a really good idea as to like what percentage of chances you're looking at, like what reasonable results could you be expecting. So out of that survey, 56% increased their income between $100 and $1,000 a month. Usually those were brand new bloggers just starting out. 9% increased their income between 1,000 and 2,000%, and those were a mix of new and some a little bit more experienced. 12% increased their income between $2,000 and $10,000. Most of those were blogging already. A couple of them were just rock stars. I mean, they were amazing. 3% increased their income over $10,000 a month. Those were the people that we were talking about that were already making full-time income, and they missed like 1 or 2 sections of foundation and then just exploded. So that's what we were talking about before. 90% of the people that took Elite Blog Academy, and a very impressive 90%, said that they would recommend Elite Blog Academy to others. And that does not include the 8% who had not finished the class and couldn't offer a recommendation, which is pretty cool. 4% of readers completed Elite Blog Academy in less than 4 months. I'm so proud of that statistic because I think you're crazy if you do it in less than 4 months. 86% of readers completed Elite Blog Academy in more than 6 months. There was a direct correlation between how slow you took the course and how much your income increased. Now, keep in mind too that the other part of that is that when I say it took 9 months or 18 months or 12 months, that doesn't mean you get the class and you stick it in a closet for 6 months and then start it. That means consistently spending 10 hours a week for 9 months, for 12 months, for 18 months, for however long that it takes you to complete every single step. If you can complete every single step in 6 months, then like, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people that are like sticking it in their ears while they run at the gym and thinking that counts as taking the class. This is dedicated time. You're sitting down, you're taking the unit assignment and then you're implementing the unit assignment. So that's what you need to do in order to have success in this class. If you can't do that, then I'm no judging, but just don't spend the money in the class because you know you're not going to get out of it what you want to get out of it. All right, so there are some positive and negative reviews. I've got a ton of them in the post, and I can link to the post, but just to give you a couple of examples of what we expect, there's tons of testimonials, but two good ones are Elite Blog Academy was a game changer for my blog. I went from making no money to making $500 to $1,000 a month, and I'm only halfway through the course. I can't imagine what my income is going to look like when I finish. So another positive one is when I started Elite Blog Academy in March 2017, I had 600 email subscribers. Now I've gained more than 6,000 email subscribers by understanding who my readers are and how I can help them. As a working mom, I did every assignment at night and followed Ruth's advice. I love that. Okay. My blog has grown to almost 90,000 page views a month. I love having a plan for creating and building a business. Not only do I love blogging more than ever, but my monthly income is more than $3,500 and growing every month. I love this. eBay is the best thing I ever could have invested for when I was ready to take my blog to the next level. And that's from Brittany Wise, who's our homemadeeasy.com. And I know exactly what you're talking about, Brittany. I feel the same way. So I also wanted to give you some negative reviews because I absolutely hate reviews where they don't have negative reviews. It's annoying. So all of the negative reviews are pretty much the same. I haven't finished it yet, but I'll let you know when I do. Also, my income hasn't changed yet because it's a new blog, or I haven't completed it and it's on my list of jobs. It's basically people that didn't do it. Do you know what I'm saying? And they probably had really good intentions and then life just got in the way. And I think that if you can get one thing out of this super long review, it's that if you're dedicated to this, if you're going to make this a priority, I think this is a really good investment for you if you're going to implement every step. But if you think that you're not, if you think you're going to take it and then just not do it, if you think you're going to take it and just not make it a priority, I don't think that this is going to be a good investment for you. You're not going to get out of it what you put into it. And I think you can see that in the reviews too. It's kind of the same thing. So let's see. Is there any other questions? So if you guys have questions, feel free. I can have a follow-up of frequently asked questions. I was planning on doing that, but I was like, this is already a 32-minute video, and I don't know that anybody has the attention span to actually watch this whole thing. So overall recommendation, again, I think it's a really good purchase, and I think you're going to love it, and I think it's going to change your life, and I think you're going to be like, oh my gosh, remember that random 32-minute video that I watched on YouTube that one time? Best moment ever. But if you don't do it, I think you're just spreading money. So if you don't implement what you learn, I wouldn't do it. But I would love to hear from you. Feel free to email me if you have questions. I got a lot out of Elite Blog Academy. It completely changed my life, and I feel very, very vested in giving back to that community. So if you're on the fence and if you're thinking about it, first of all, join the wait list, because if you're not on the wait list, you don't even have the option. But feel free to email me, talk about your story, tell me about your story, and I can kind of give you particularly any concerns you have. And I'd love to give you personalized feedback. All right? Thanks for listening.